And welcome to the Chris Evans Podcast, joined today by my good buddy Phil Nichols. I'm Chris Evans as we dive in a little bit here with the city pool. Did you see what I did there?
I see what you did there. Well, we can't, no diving boards.
No diving board. The diving boards have been missing in action for some years. There's some regulations at the state.
Where I grew up, you had the low board, the medium board, and the high dive. And the high dive, you got to see people's courage at a young age.
Yeah.
You know, they'd walk out there and then they'd drop their knees and they'd scoot backwards. And then, so it was a big deal when you came off the high diving board.
When I was growing up, we had two diving boards, the diving board and the high dive.
Good stuff.
So, city pool. Feels like there's been 25,000 articles and 18 podcasts on this topic. But let's give you the latest update here. Of course, the city pool built in either the 30s or 40s and was a great thing for many people growing up. The YMCA now operates the pool for the City of Guthrie. The City of Guthrie gives the YMCA $10,000 to operate part of that. The Y manages the lifeguards and all that that goes with operating a pool. COVID shut down the swimming pool in 2020. It reopened in 21 and 22. And then in 23, the council decided to shut down the pool for a myriad of reasons.
Wasn't it leaking like 40,000 gallons a day?
A day.
That's a lot.
And at the time, we were in a severe drought.
Yeah.
And the lakes were low.
Yeah.
Leaking water, the irrigation or the pumping system is outdated.
Yeah.
It's
lost the chemical, just everything.
I mean, it's an 80-something-year-old pool, and so
it's as old as me.
Yeah. So the council is going through different redesigns, conversations of what that looks like. The CIP committee, now the CIP Oversight Committee, which full transparency, Phil and I were both are still on that committee, and they were able to, with all the other projects, EMS, ball fields, ADA intersections, water lines, sewer lines, all that combined, we had about $15 million that we can play with, and $2 million of that got allocated to the city pool. Then city staff went to engineers and said, we have $2 million, what's that give us? And it resulted in about a 1,527 square foot pool. I want to say the current pool right now is 7,000 square foot.
It's a big pool.
And so this plan here for $2.1 million would get zero entry, some slides, of course, all ADA compliant. And the council heard that presentation, also the park board heard that presentation. And when members of the park board heard that presentation, they did not like that plan. They simply did not like that. It is much smaller. It was mostly, we wanted $20,000 or 20,000 square foot pool, but the dollars kind of pushed this project to that option, what we'll call option A right now.
Well, and I'm going to be really transparent. I'm going to throw myself under the bus. When we first started the CIP, they asked me, I thought, well, if I got to pick between water and sewer and a pool, we ain't going to have a pool.
You want to be able to drink and bathe.
I'd like to be able to actually be a town, but setting that aside, I told somebody this the other day, and I still think the pool, out of everything that we're doing, is the least important thing that we're looking at. That's just me personally.
Yeah.
But saying that, I fully support what the park board and the private citizens group's doing. I think that's awesome. I think if private citizens want to get involved and try to raise money outside to maybe enhance the pool, make it bigger, I think that's great. Now there's a lot of ground that's got to be covered before that can become real, a real thing. Yeah. There's a difference between getting pledges and having money in the bank, and you can't sign contracts on pledges. So, but the city is the one, and I really want this to be clear. I wasn't the only one on the CIP that was sitting there looking a little bit slant-eyed about the pool.
Yeah.
And the city's the one that pushed the fact that, no, we need to do something for the pool.
And to be honest with you, the pool kind of generated the CIP committee.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah,
they absolutely did. And so, when we did the survey, I believe it finished number 5 as far as an order of priorities. Yeah. I think it was the 5th thing listed.
The public survey and our
survey. Community survey. So, so obviously there's people that want a pool, and I think that's great. I think the days of us debating the viability of having a pool, everybody needs to put that to bed. Now, when I say everybody, I'm really talking about myself because it doesn't matter. The community wants a pool. We're going to have a pool. We were always going to have a pool, okay? Even though we only had $2 million allocated, the plan was we've got $2 million now. Let's get something in place, get it going, and then we can add to it. So it was never that this was going to be it.
This is what we have.
This is what we have. This is what we can afford to do today. Then we can add to it down the road. And so I think that's a point that a lot of people don't understand, is that this was never, this is the final pool.
Right.
That was never the discussion. It was never the agreement. It was never the plan. If we can expedite that and people through private donations can double the size of the pool, there's nobody I know of that's opposed to that.
Yeah, and that's, the pool, this private group of citizens, talked to the city management, and so city staff went and went to the engineers, what's some other options for our stuff? Option B, which would be the largest of the three options, would be a 3,500 square foot pool, so double what the option A would be. Now with that, there's more upgrades because there's more pumps,
requirements,
engineering stuff that is over my head. The price tag for that right now is $3.5 million. And then option C is right in the middle of those two. And that would be a 2,300 square foot. If you've ever been to the Guthrie Golf and Country Club here in recent years, it's about that size of the pool there. And that's a $2.9 million. So as we said, the city has approximately $2.1 million allocated. And Phil mentioned the citizens group trying to raise funds. And their goal is to get to the largest one, which is $3.5 million. And if you haven't had a chance to watch the podcast, I was joined with Mineka, Miss Berline, and Carol Side, and they're a part of the group behind trying to raise funds, allocate funds. And so if you want to watch that, you're more than welcome to see that. I invite you to do that so you can hear from their perspective. But just Tuesday night, as we do this on July 3rd, 2025, 2 days ago, the City Council, Joe Chappell went up there and spoke on behalf of the committee, of the pool committee, did a fantastic job of doing that, and said, hey, can you give us 30 days to see how much money we can raise?
30 more days.
30 more days in addition, and which honestly is not enough.
It's not, and everybody knows that, but I mean, at some point, go back to what we talked about in the previous podcast, the ball fields. You can't keep kicking this can down hoping to raise more money because the cost is going up every day.
Yeah.
I mean, so the money you raise is going to do nothing but offset the increase in cost, unfortunately. So.
Now, can this committee raise $1.4 million in the next 30 days? Probably going to be tough to do that. And so part of the podcast I said yesterday is, can you have the same mentality? If you can't get the funds raised enough immediately, even in 60 days, could you go with the plan as presented and add on with the additional funds that that group raises? And I think they were open to that as well.
Well, and listen, this isn't because I hear this, I've heard this the last few days. This isn't this group of citizens against this group of citizens. No, that's not what this is. It's just everybody working together, hopefully, to try to make something better.
Yeah.
Go back to, again, a previous podcast, we talked about people have different priorities, things that are important to them. Some people are very passionate about the ball field. Some people are very passionate about the pool. Some people are very passionate about ADA compliant streets and sidewalks. And, and they're all important, good things that we need all of them. We need all of them, But again, there's this ugly, nasty word called budget that you got to play within. And, and I told someone the other day, they said, well, how else could we do it? I said, well, we could always raise taxes.
Which I feel like, we're pretty we're not max, I agree, but we're close to max.
I agree, but I'm just saying, at the end of the day, the city staff is doing everything humanly possible to address these needs. Everything humanly possible. So, and that's where some of the comments... So, just from my perspective, they bother me a little bit because people will pop stuff off like the city staff and folks that sit on the committee are idiots. We're not idiots. We got to live in the real world of money restraints, and that's just what it is.
And not to go into it, but there's people who swim in this pool 35 years ago as 7, 8, 9, 10-year-olds that won't go to this pool either. They just that's their childhood, and they want to see that. And things have changed with cell phones and kids. I mean, it's a little bit different.
Well, more families have pools.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a variety of things. More families have pools. video games have changed the way kids are raised.
Yeah.
They've changed it.
Well,
I mean, it's a whole different world. And listen, I was back in my hometown a few weeks ago for a family reunion. We had a big, huge pool, just like what we currently have here in the little town I was raised in. Several years ago, they built a new pool, ripped that pool out, put a new pool in. It's got the egress in, the walk-in and everything. Now, our pool does have a diving board. I didn't know, it's a little one, a small one, short one.
Yeah.
But it's got a big slide and all that stuff. And it's a cool swimming pool. But the whole time I was there, to your point, I'm sitting in a lawn chair. We're there for a birthday party for my great niece. And I'm going, well, that's where the bleachers used to stand. That ain't right. Why is that there?
Yeah.
And the high dive used to be, we don't have a high dive,
Yeah.
So people are always going to they're going to want those things they had from yesteryear. That's just not the reality of the world.
And just like going field, if you get the pool started, and there's a lot of people that would be interested, and I think there would be a lot of people who go to the pool and water aerobics. It's not just leisure, water aerobics, swimming lessons.
Sure.
I think if the excitement builds, I think those pledges for
will come in.
Yeah,
so. I agree with that. The big deal is, though, is we've got to get something started. We're already going to miss next pool year. We're not going to have a pool again next year the way it looks.
Yeah.
I mean, based on...
Eddie Faulkner, city manager, let it be known at Tuesday's meeting that construction or the pool will not be open next year. Of course, Guthrie in the last couple of years has gone with Pelican Bay and Edmond, which is also leaking 20,000 gallons of
water. Yeah.
And they're about to put $7 million in their pool. But nonetheless, so I think that looks like, and just to kind of real quick, it's going to be hard to see here, but this is 24, 25, and 26, and we are in the month now, July, and I'm going to circle that right there, and it says construction begins. Well, that is not happening because we're all the way back over here. So the pool was supposed to be ready to go in April, and that simply is behind. And so even if they raised $1.5 million by this time frame here in August, we're way behind. So there's no way if $10 million came in right now. Well, maybe $10 million.
Well, money can't accelerate the construction process. I mean,
new layout plans, engineering.
Yeah, I mean, they're not going to, with this new plan, if we get it, I hope we do, going to have to be all new plans, going to have to be all new this, all new that, all this stuff you got to go through. We're a ways away. If we got all the money in the next 30 days, we're a ways away from breaking ground.
Yeah.
So it's,
well,
it'll be a minute.
And if you're the City of Guthrie, you're waiting for these pledges to come in, but at some point you have to go.
Again, a pledge. You cannot sign a contract based on a pledge.
Yeah, if the City of Guthrie goes, yeah, let's do 3.5, great, and we got 2.1, well, we need 1.4, oh, we were only able to raise 400,000.
Well, I know we were pledged 2.4, but we got 380,000.
So what do we do with the other $1 million? Now,
city signed the contract.
Yeah. So, yeah, but nonetheless, I was able to talk with the pool committee yesterday, and I invite you to check out that podcast as well and hear more about their fundraising efforts. And I don't have the QR code, but if you go to GuthrieNewsPage.com, there's a sign in the article if you want to scan it there, or if you want to reach out to one of the committee members, they will be glad to do that. There's a picture of the committee in there, so if you know anybody in there.
And I think, isn't Minecca's email posted publicly?
I think so. Councilwoman Minecca Gibbs.
Yeah, Councilwoman Minecca Gibbs. So if you did want to, if you have questions or if you want to make a donation.
Or can't find the article.
Or whatever the case may be, you can email Minecca as well. But, and listen, we encourage people to support it. Tanya and I are going to support it. I mean, we think it's good for the community. More importantly, it's what everybody wants, or many people want in the community.
It's fun to get behind something like this.
Yeah, get behind it. I mean, heck, it's good for the community. It's important, so we encourage everybody to do your due diligence, talk to people that are on the committee, find out, get all your questions answered. If you're inclined at that point to make a donation, make one. I think that's great. And hopefully here, as quickly as possible, we'll have a beautiful pool to go enjoy.
And just remember, the pool is the middle part. There's a bathhouse and equipment house on top of that as well.
That's right. That's right.
So,
all this extra stuff.
I know. The engineers got to get their money too.
I had a guy tell me the other day he could build that pool for $300,000.
Well, there's no doubt he could do it cheaper, just because when you deal with government entities.
Well, it's like when you get over certain square footage, now there's just all this new requirements from safety perspective and what kind of material you have to use and what you have to have.
I was starting to think with the diving board, it has to be a little bit deeper than most.
Yeah.
You know, it used to be 10 feet. Now it's probably 12 or 13.
Probably, I don't know.
And so you have to go further down. You have to dig more concrete.
It costs more money.
Yeah. So
all it takes is money.
I'm waiting for it to fall.
All it takes is money.
Absolutely. So, best of luck to the pool committee, and we can't wait till that pool opens. No matter how it opens,
or when,
and then there's future expansion. On either side, whether it's the city finding funds somewhere, a grant, or this committee coming through.
But good to the committee for jumping in and taking action on this. I tip my hat to you. That's good work.
Tip or tap if you were able to subscribe to Second Banana Media here on YouTube. Subscribe, hit the bell, be notified when videos like this. We also have live shows on Second Banana Media as well. That'll do it for Phil. I'm Chris. Have a great day. Have a great week. We'll talk to you next time.